For episode number 19, I got to talk to Darren Cody. He's an Irish guy, and when we did this conversation, I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to understand him too much when I had the idea of podcasting him. However, I've been with him for about 10 days, and now I can understand him perfectly. But I am worried that when you guys listen, you might have no idea what this langer is saying. But maybe you will, maybe you won't. If you don't get it, just keep re-listening to it. You'll catch on. And throughout this entire hour and 10-minute conversation, I understood everything he said. I didn't say again once, which I've been saying so much recently. Darren, he leads a group of about 300 people in supply out in the Irish Army. Yesterday, he's the head coach for the CISM. I'm not sure what that acronym is. Do you know what's that acronym, CISM? Yeah, it's French, and that's why I don't know it. I'd say it CISM. But yesterday, Team Ireland beat Belgium 1-0, and it was one of the happiest moments I've ever seen people experience jumping around, both when they scored and then when that final whistle blew with 7 minutes of stoppage time. I hope you enjoy listening to Darren Cody talk, and he's actually the first person to sign my sign before, because I was worried we would forget at the end, and he's got a flight to Ireland, and I've got a flight myself in 2 days. Darren, if you would, just give a little quick accent or a little speak so people can hear this accent.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you understood me, John.
So
after 10 days.
If you didn't understand that, you might as well just end the podcast now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you called me a langer too.
For episode number 19, so your number plus 10, right? Yeah, he gave me this sweet jersey, number 9.
Yeah.
It's funny you gave me number 9 because when I am guest number 9 on my own podcast, when Kiara Fraser wanted to interview me after people were asking questions about things I thought. So I was guest number 9. Now I'm number 9, and that was her favorite number 9. So it's all linking together.
Excellent. I'm glad it links in with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
And all the good things.
Well, thank you so much for finding time during this busy 2 weeks to sit here and talk to me.
Yeah.
Share an apple cider from our local
That's it.
Washington.
Cheers.
So Darren Cody used to play soccer for the CISM's men team for Ireland, right?
That's right, yeah.
And now you're the coach. So I just wanted to, I've never talked to a athlete person on like leadership ideas and thoughts. So that's what I'm hoping to do today, talking to you, figure out what you're thinking. And you're also only the second foreign person I've talked to too, because I've talked to I've talked to a South Korean guy. Okay. So just hearing military people from another branch is a lot of fun too, or from another country.
I'm delighted to be here, John, and thanks for asking me.
Oh, for sure. So let's start. We got to make sure this is better than Erica's and the girls that she picks. I know Zara, Luis, and she has someone else. I think Mel or Shannon. All right. I think they're going to do one. So ours will be better than that for sure.
So you're putting the pressure on me straight away.
Yeah. But I'm like, we're gonna get there. Yeah. So let's start with you. Tell me about yourself.
Oh, as you said, my name is Darren, surname Cody. I'm a dad of 2 beautiful daughters, Zoe and Clodagh, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, Teresa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're married since 2007. As I said, I have 2 beautiful daughters, and we met in a town called Bandon back in Cork.
Okay.
I would have to say that was Teresa's best night of her life. Because
I would agree.
But it's obviously the other way around, yeah. So it's been great. I joined the military 25 years ago.
Okay.
And when I joined, I would have joined up in the 1st Cav Squadron. So that would have been based in my hometown of Moy, but unfortunately it closed down 2 years later, so we moved into Conza Barracks. And again, since then I've changed from the Cavalry Corps into various units, BTC being a brigade training centres where you're kind of being an instructor on courses. Following that, I transferred to the unit called TISC, which was known at the time. Then I went to the infantry, 12th Infantry Battalion. And I now serve for the 1 Brigade Engineers back in Kilworth, which is great because it's close to home.
So what did you do to meet Teresa south of Cork?
Yeah, I suppose a long story. The DJ was from mine. He used to play in Bandon. So every weekend he'd ask a few of us to travel down with him for a bit of company.
Okay.
I suppose it's just over an hour drive. So we take turns and go down and with something different also.
Uh-huh.
And Yeah, I think Teresa spotted my good dancing moves, and
I'd like to. We're on camera. You should show us some of those dance moves.
No. That was a long time ago. But
What if we get a goal against USA tomorrow? Will you show some dance moves then?
oh, for sure.
I'll scream for
Yeah,
that. Hey,
for sure.
you said you do this.
I'll give it a go.
All right.
Course, yeah.
I mean, you won someone over 15 years ago. They're probably still pretty good.
Well, I'd say the hips might need a bit of WD-40 in the knees, but yeah, we can give it a go.
Devin won't be there to fix you up.
I know. I'll have to depend on Richie or myself to kind of treat each other. But
Yeah. So with Devin, who's the physio, and then you got Richie and Shane here. What was it like? Like, how'd you meet those guys, picking them to come along on this soccer trip with you? How'd you make that decision?
Yeah, it was great, I suppose. Prior to this tournament, I suppose, like I would have been involved with the ladies' soccer with mainly 10 years, I suppose. And at the time, it was Lieutenant Margaret Hogan, Captain Margaret Hogan. She would have asked me to get involved and help out with the team. Okay. She was a player at the time, and when I did, I was delighted to get involved. And the next player also, Alan Carboy, I approached him and asked somebody to come in as a coach. So both of us took on that role 10 years ago, and it was excellent because you're working with a guy that you have great respect for, and you know that he's kind of carry the same traits as you do, and he'd always have the players' best interests at heart. So that was an easy option. So when he retired from the Defence Forces, it was kind of looking to find someone that would fill that gap, and it was a big boots to fill.
Yeah.
And Margaret kind of proposed Richard Crowe, which I was delighted because I knew him to kind of hear of. I know he's an excellent instructor within the Defence Forces, big into sniping, big into shooting, and he was a total professional, And when I did get to meet him eventually, it was perfect.
Yeah,
he's a great guy, excellent coach, and really, really, if you were to handpick someone to fill the boots of Alan Corby, this was a guy. He was fantastic. Yeah,
I can confirm Richie's a great guy. But Devin, I'm not so sure about. So how did he end up on the team?
Yeah, I suppose I first met Devin was we were on exercise in Sweden in the Nordic Battle Group, which was known as, and so it was a crazy introduction. He was hanging off the bars of a tent, and I'm saying, "How's it going? Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah, my back gives me bother, so I was kind of told to hang off the bar as long as I can." And it's
weirdo.
Is this guy serious?
He probably had his shirt off too, huh?
No, I don't think so. I think it was minus 20 or something. So yeah, okay. But shirt on, and I just said, "Look here, I've done a physio course, and would you be interested in just trying something different than hanging off a bar?" So
he got that figured out.
I think it was an easy win. So I did, and we did a few, I suppose, sessions with him. And following that, I found out he was living close to where I live in home, and for
10 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, a place called Grange, and he was kind of interested in the course that I had done, and he was asking about it, and I was involved with, I suppose, teams that were local doing physio for him. And I said to him, "Would you not have an interest in taking on that course and seeing how it goes?" Because he did, a good interest in it, and he did, and thankfully he did, because he's here with us now as the team physio, and like, he's amazing. He's a great guy. His humour is just second to none, and he has just a fantastic relationship with the players, which makes our job so much easier as coaches and managers. He really balances the group, and he could come out with anything.
Yeah, I'll start trying to make relationships with people that are hanging off barrels. Yeah, he does seem great. No, I really like him. What about Shane? How'd he get in?
Yeah, so Shane and myself would have trained. We would join the army together.
25 years ago?
Yeah. So he would have been in maybe 6 weeks before me. I always say that I know my left from my right. He didn't see it to go in that bit earlier. Yeah, so and Shane would have been a great influencer for me when I came in, because I didn't really have any military background. My dad would have been in the army, but I wouldn't have been in the reserves prior to that, or I wouldn't have any marching, or so Shane was in it was called the FCA, so it's our reservists at the time. So he would have, in the room that I was in, there were 7 of us, and he would have kind of stayed back in the evenings and give me extra tuition on how to march and how to turn, and
nice.
It's just a really, really good guy, and a genuine, and I saw he only came on board, I suppose, due to Shane Donnelly. He was in as a coach, and his wife was due to have the baby just before we left, so he couldn't make it. And when I was given kind of the full autonomy to approach someone to take him on board, I was just,
wow.
Yeah, this guy has to be, because Shane is the ultimate professional.
Yeah,
he's after bringing the level, this team to a new level in terms of nutrition, in terms of preparation, strength and conditioning, and he's just to the T. Everything is covered. Yeah,
he knows what he's here for.
He
knows.
Great guy, yeah, great guy.
Yeah, he is a great guy. So did you have to get Teresa's permission to pick your 3 guys you're going to America with?
Yeah, I think Teresa.
Is she okay with these choices?
No, she's really great support for me, and I suppose when you're in the military, you're away for a long period of times due to courses, due to being overseas, and like she's definitely the backbone of what I get, and anything I've achieved, whether it be through career courses, whether it be through courses in civilian street, like Teresa's always pushing me in and giving me that support, and yeah, she's just an amazing lady, and honoured to call her my wife. She's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, now we talked about her twice. We're good. You're
Yeah,
set. We
yeah,
can end this right now. You'd be good. We checked all our boxes.
Yeah.
Thanks. So after this tournament is over, this time next week, do you think you and the girls will still like talk to each other, like keep in contact? Being in the Irish Army, I mean, you definitely learn from people with different jobs.
Again, this group and this, like, it's the first time ever competing in a tournament like this. It's amazing. Like, we started out 6 weeks ago, well, plus now I suppose 8 weeks ago now, because we're nearly here 2 weeks in the USA, and like, you couldn't handpick a better group. No, it was unfortunate there was a few girls that didn't get to travel because we could only bring 21 players.
Yeah, and
like, it was a really tough and difficult decision to kind of not name everyone, and like, I know it's very hard to kind of cut people, if that's the way to word it. Like, it was difficult, it was extremely difficult, but the girls that came here are really ambassadors for themselves, their families, the units they represent, and the Irish Defence Force. Like, would I think we're friends? I'd say for sure, yeah. I hope, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they
time will tell.
They don't like me, and I'm only just fooling myself thinking that we could really still be friends. But I'd say, yeah, I'd hope that there is a good relationship built amongst us, and yeah, I'd hold them with the highest respect. They're just fantastic, and they're really committed, and giving, like, they're professionals without being professionals, if you could say that. They're really excellent.
Yeah, events like this where people get to come together to play a sport would be like the perfect formula to create a relationship and continue to grow outside of it. So I'm optimistic it'll work out for you guys.
For sure, please God. Hopefully.
Yeah, so let's talk about, I like asking difficult questions, right? So you said that you had to cut some people before coming here. How many people did you have to cut?
Yeah, so, like, there was, I suppose our training would have had 30 plus, so, like, you're talking eight girls and 8 fantastic girls, because they would have been committed for the 6 weeks prior to coming, and up to the last 2 or 3 days, you know, and, like, you're kind of asking them to stay committed in case an injury occurs, or in case, you know, personal circumstance arises, and again, it's difficult because, like, I have been there, you know, been in the men's team, that you'd be 30, 40 plus, and then only 22 get to travel, and you're always hoping that you'd be one of those 22. But it's hard. It's very difficult to make that decision. And look, again, all I can do is thank all those girls from the bottom of my heart, because it really assisted us and helped us to prepare as best we could. Because if they weren't there, we don't have those numbers. We don't get to imitate the 2 games with in training sessions, and we don't get to push each other because the competition won't be there. And, like, it was outstanding. And, you know, I'd really like to just say to them, if when we do get back together, when we get home, just really come with that same attitude and positive approach. They've been fantastic, and I'm looking forward to meeting up when we get back, and hopefully this team and everyone that was a part of it prior to coming over can meet up and have maybe a social event or just something to eat, that we're all together and you know, acknowledge what they give to us. That's
great. So if you're willing to share, like, I think most humans avoid and don't like making difficult decisions. So how do you make that decision, or, like, tell them, like, you know, how do you have that conversation? People don't like difficult conversations. How did you do it? It's
extremely difficult, and, like, it comes from, you have to weigh up what positions you have, where you feel that you're strong in the squad, what a different part. Like, even though a player might be technically better in a position, you might have a few people strong in that area. So you're looking to see, right, if something was to happen to A, for instance, can this person fill out that position? And all that's made up. The difficulty of saying it is that, like, it's not nice. It's not, like, so myself and Richie would have been in the meeting room, and so we interviewed each player, and we kind of said that, yes, you're successful, you've made the selection, and again, if you didn't, you're kind of saying, look, unfortunately you haven't made the selection now, but we still have a week to go. We'd love you to stay involved. We'll respect your decision if you don't, and you never know if something did happen, whether it's an injury or whether it's a case of a personal circumstance arise for someone that has been selected, that they get to go. And, you know, you hope that they do see that you're being open,
Yeah.
upfront, and honest with them, and it is, and it's difficult. And of course, you'd have a relationship built with these players also, and you know that they're after giving so much of a commitment to you. Their family is hoping that they get to go. They're hoping to get to go, and it's a difficult decision. Yeah, and I didn't like it, but unfortunately, that's the position I hold, and I need to make those decisions.
I think that's one of, I want to talk about like being a coach, right? And that's one of the hard things to do is making cuts. What else is difficult about being a coach before we get into the good stuff about coaching?
Yeah, so like match day is very difficult. So like you're weighing up your training sessions leading into it. You're weighing up how players are playing, your opposition, what player would meet the best, to go up against the opposition that you're preparing for. And someone may feel that they should be starting, and yes, you want everyone to be feeling that way, but then you name the 11 and they're not on it, and you could see body language just kind of saying, "Oh, this didn't go down." But again, it's their difficult choices, their difficult decisions also, and again, being the coach, being the head coach, it's cruel at the times, but you're not doing it to be cruel. You're doing it to be kind of. But again, you're overemphasizing that it's not the team as in the 11, it's the squad, and everybody is a part of that squad. Anyone can start it. And at times, your strongest team finish that game. So, like the substitutes that you bring in, or the people you replace, you finish with a stronger 11, and that's how important the squad is and what you need from them. So you're hoping that the people that don't make the starting 11 really stays positive and really buy into what you're looking to do, and success follows that. And if it's not success, it's a good performance, and then you'd encourage them to also to ask the question, why am I not starting? Because we don't just say, I'm starting John instead of Darren. There's a reason for it, and if they ask the question, we have the reasons, and we really think deep about how our selection is done and the purpose of the position that's been filled.
So you practice open transparency. If they ask a question, you're going to give them the honest answer, no matter if it hurts or not.
Yeah. For sure. I think it's important. I think honesty is a key, and if you're upfront and like some players may not appreciate that, but you give it to them as honest and as placid as you can.
Right.
You're not trying to hurt their feelings. You're just trying to be, I suppose, tactful and mindful of the person you're talking to, and really kind of explain why.
Yep.
Yeah. And thankfully today it has been good. It's working.
Good. So when I was a younger leader, I would avoid being honest and hurting their feelings to avoid that uncomfortableness. I would just like lie or make up a little white lie so they would feel good. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that it never works. Or often will backfire. They'll find out.
Yeah.
Then you're just being distrustful or not truthful. So I have like this policy that I'm just radical transparency is what it's called. And if you ask the question, you're going to get the honest answer. Unless it's like someone's medical condition that I can't talk about. I'll tell you like this is why you're not doing this or why we chose this person. And it just makes things a little easier. And at least I sleep better at night, like knowing there's no other way to do it but to be truthful. Yeah.
And look, when I was a player, like there've been plenty of times where I've disappointment, and it's how you adapt with that. Like, and I think the best approach, like I would have coaches and managers over me that would have kind of given me that, buttered up and make it sound better. But I think what you need is if you're a person that's driven and you want to be better and you want to perform to the best of your ability, I think the coach's advice has to be upfront and honest, because otherwise you're cutting yourself again.
Yeah.
And if he's giving you honest advice, which I try to do, you're hoping that the player then takes that on board and works on it.
Yep.
And then forces your hand that you say, right, I'm after working on this, I'm better now, you need to give me the starting position. And that's what we need, because it's competition from the players and makes our job harder. Yeah,
there's this great story about Ray Charles. You know him, the blind pianist?
Yeah.
He said like when he was younger, he heard that this like musician was coming in, and so he practiced for hours or days ahead to like impress this guy and get signed on and get a job with this important musician. And he's blind. I think I said deaf earlier, but he's blind. Yeah. And so he goes to the thing and he plays the piano, and he can't see the guy's facial reactions. So he's just going, hoping that the guy's liking it so he can talk to him at the end. And when he's done, the guy's like, "You're not good enough. Keep trying, bye." And so Ray Charles goes home, and he could have done the easy thing and just given up and moved on, but he practiced even harder and said, "No one's going to tell me that again." And look what happens.
Excellent. Yeah. And again, that's a great way to look at it. And again, nobody can stop you achieving, or nobody can stop you progressing on yourself, would be my opinion. Like if you believe that you can do something, you can achieve it. But if you don't, if you listen to people maybe giving you negative feedback and you believe that and you just stop, well then, unfortunately, you're the only person that's losing out, because you believe in what someone may have said, which is wrong about you, and then you just don't push. So I would be, I think, a driven person. I'd like to feel that anyone that I'm working with or working for, I'm giving the best, and you know, and in that then it returns in dividends by them giving their best.
Okay.
Also.
So moving just away from soccer for this question specifically, let's say you have a soldier or someone that's not giving their best. What do you do to make them care more?
Yeah, and look, again, it's you know, the military has a rank structure, and people can use that as a kind of a forcefulness that I'm superior to you, so you do what I tell you. But I don't adopt that approach. I think the best approach in any aspect of life, and I would have been given this advice as a young fellow, and this would have come from my dad. He would have said, you know, when you're in the army, and I became an NCO, he says, anyone you're treating, treat them as if you would like to be treated the same, or your brother or sister. So if you're treating someone,
nice.
treat them the way you'd like your brother or sister to be treated. And therefore, I think that was solid advice. And if you approach it like that, you're kind of always having their best interests at heart, at mind, but you're still encouraging them to do what you need them to do. And I think that's a good trait to carry.
And your dad gave you that?
Yeah.
About the brother and sister? Treat them like your brother and sister?
For sure, yeah.
It's so the first time I heard something similar to that, and you're only the second person I've heard say it. I'm air traffic, and the highest ranking air traffic controller in the Air Force, his like leadership philosophy is very similar to that. And he says, treat your airmen, your people, like they're your own little brother and your little sister. What would you do for your own little brother and little sister? Everything. You'll stay late for them. You'll help them out when they're in trouble. You'll talk to them. You'll make them feel comfortable. Yeah. And when you it's easier said than done, but if you really implement something like that, think how much greater that person's going to grow up. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Succeed.
And again, I suppose my dad would have kept me grounded as a young fella, you know, growing up and playing sports. He'd always kind of mention the team side of it, not the you side of it or the I side of it. And I think that was great, you know, to really keep you grounded. And and then when I joined the military, he was delighted, but he didn't really have an idea. I was after applying, and so obviously in any job you go into, you should always try to improve yourself and better yourself.
Yep.
So when I was, I suppose, passed out in my NCO's course, that's when he kind of gave me that advice. He said, right, Darren, you're an NCO now, you're going to have people under there, you're going to have people working that you're instructing or whatever. He said, and that was when he kind of nailed me with that. And I said, yeah, excellent, great way of looking at it.
Do you enjoy being in charge of a bunch of people?
Yeah, I kind of look at it as working more so than in charge. You know, I work with, and I always believe that if you don't do something or don't give someone something to do that you're not prepared to do yourself. So if you're working with someone or a group of people and they're under you and you need something done, well then you should help. You know, start with it, and you mightn't be able to be there for the whole lot of it, but if you start with it and you kind of get back to finish with it, well, they see you doing it, and then they kind of say, right, this is good. This is It's not just a dictator telling me what I need to do, and he's gone and he's off having a jolly. But yeah, I think
it makes perfect sense, because even in simple moments when I see someone that outranks me or someone just that I like cleaning or doing something that they don't need to do, I'm like, okay, I'm now going to help them. I just feel obligated to do it, and I feel good about it.
Yeah, I think it's a good trait to have.
Yeah, we're gonna jump back and forth, going back to soccer. How did being a player help you be a better coach? What did you learn as a player, that made you a better coach?
Yeah, I don't know. I think as a player, you kind of look at, well, I did anyway. I would have looked at people that were coaches over me. You know, I played with my home club for my FC, and I would have had a lot of influence in managers over me. I suppose underage would have had a big part of my development in soccer. So when I started off, there was an Irish international junior, Christy Kennedy was his name. He's an unbelievable person. Fantastic soccer player, but a great person. So if he's coaching you, you're listening in because this guy has done it all. He's at the top and he's represented his country at the international level, and he's given his free time to kind of coach us. So you'd always look at him and how he approached and how he dealt with us as young kids playing soccer, and I thought it was a fantastic way. And then moving on to 16s, we did look. I suppose our team was successful at that age in our club. And we had two great people, three, I suppose. John McNamara, Andy McGrath, rest in peace. He's a fantastic person and a really, really great guy to push and to be your best and give a belief that you never seen yourself. And then Jimmy McGuire would have been also in with those two people and fantastic. And you're looking at their traits and you're saying, right, how can I adapt those into me? And even in life skills, what did they do that made me feel good, and how did I react to that? And then you might have other people that maybe impacted in a different way, and you'd say, right, I wouldn't carry that trait on. And so that would have been me in the defence forces. I suppose when I did break into the defence force team, like John Godfrey would have been there. He great guy from Dublin. Moved on. Then there was an excellent group that we went to India to the World Military Games, and we had Jim Noon was our manager coach. With Casey McQuillan, a fantastic guy. He would have played with him through his later stages, and took over as lead coach. And he just excellent. Like the knowledge that he had in the game and the passion that he brought to us was phenomenal. We had Jim Noon. We also, I suppose, he's now the president of the FAI, Jerry McEnany.
Yeah,
like great people around us, and really encouraged us to develop and be as best as we could. And like that group of players that we had was something special. Like it was really, really excellent to experience that with the group of players we had. And one of the key guys, if I could give a mention, would have been our assistant, or like vice captain, Paddy Conlon. Just an unbelievable athlete, a fantastic leader. Just he was your ultimate professional. Like he just led by example. Training sessions, he'd make sure you knew you were in the training session and imitated the game. Just brought everything, and unfortunately he passed away, due to a tragic accident back a few years ago. And just a great guy. So like with the group of players we had, every one of us would have a great connection still, and it was down to the leadership that we had over us, and like those traits you'd gain, and I tried to do that. And as I mentioned, my dad already, like I really look up to him, and I think he's just a top man, and his advice would always keep you grounded. And you kind of, sometimes he says something that hurts, and you're kind of saying, oh. But again, it's as we spoke about earlier, it's honest, and you have to take criticism too,
and try to fix it, or you can be sad about it.
Exactly. And so I'd really kind of take a lot of influence from my dad. Yeah.
It's really cool. You said a lot of things that I want to comment on. One of the biggest ones is how you said you like to emulate the people that did things. You're like, I wish I could do that. And so you just try to copy it. That's something, like whenever I meet people, when I see they do something really well, I just try to like copy it exactly like them. Just imagine that they're equal to me because they're a human just like me.
Yeah.
And I can do exactly what they did and make people feel the way they made me feel. And the same with the bad leaders. Like it's really, I feel like I learned my most from having some terrible, shitty leaders. There's people in charge of me. I'm like, I don't understand how you got like that. I won't do that.
I'd agree. Yeah. Like in the military career, I suppose, like, and again, everybody's trying their best, but there is some horrendous kind of instructors out there, and not because they're bad people, but I think they try to be someone that they're not, and they don't need to be,
Mm-hmm.
I remember on my standard course, there was a great instructor, Mick Smith would be his name, from the NTO training me. And the reason I think he was a great guy, like at times if you make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And you're on your tactical phase and you're trying your best, and the pressure's on, you're in appointment, and you might make a mistake, but he comes down and he pauses you and he says, right, this is, I think it was a great trait. He'd say, right Darren, have a look. You're after placing someone over here, you're after placing someone over there. If you could rewind the clock now 20 seconds, would you stay in the position you're in, or would you move them, or would you stay over there, or leave them there? And he'd tell you, stand up. So you have a big 360, and you kind of said, this is great. And then you'd move people, but he's getting you to see what he saw.
Mm-hmm.
And without shouting and roaring and making you feel bad and downgrade you, he's giving you a bird's eye view of what he saw and asking you, would you do it differently, without telling you. And then if you make those changes, he says, perfect. That 20 seconds now is after lapsing. You're back in the same position. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a fantastic way of just,
yeah,
getting a point across. Didn't belittle anyone. Give it that 20 seconds of a breather just to have a look at where you are, what you're doing.
Yeah.
And would you change it? And 9 times out of 10, you change it.
Yeah. That's so great, because it took him effort and time to do that. When the easy and thing most people would do, why the fuck weren't you there 20 seconds ago?
Exactly.
And move on and think they did their job, right? So it takes that extra effort to.
For sure. And again, following that experience, like I would try to adapt that approach. So when I was in the BTC, Brigade Training Centre, and like a lot of recruits would come through there into those courses, and you'd have a kind of say in what you're doing. You design the program, you kind of influence what's happening and the field tactics and that.
Yep.
And I think that approach would help. And it did. People often say, "Geez, you didn't roar us, or you didn't fuck us out of it," and you kind of you do when you have to. If someone's getting information 3 or 4 times and they're still making the same mistakes, well, then you need to kind of just be a small bit
do
vocal. But again, it's I thought it was a good trait to have, and positive.
We were talking about it earlier about just people like having this team here with you, and like how these people you try to emulate, being around them just makes you a better person. We were talking about this the other day. I don't even remember it, but I was telling you guys how, like, because I've kind of like been slacking off with the gym the last couple months. Like in the winter, it's been cold here, so I just haven't really been doing it. But then you guys get here and you're playing soccer and then going on workouts with a team, and then I don't know if you guys actually ran a 15K, but you told me you ran a 15K, and I was like, oh shit, like okay. And so I can think of 3 times since you guys have been here that I went to the gym because I was like, well, these guys are working out every day. These girls are running 10 kilometers every game. That I should start working out. But I bring that up to just say like it's the people you're around, because I've been around you guys a lot these last few days. You just kind of emulate them. Like you just want to do the same things they're doing. And it's cool. Like when you're with a group like that for years, like how you guys will all stay strong, stay on top, end up being the full staff of the Ireland's team coming here for the Women's World Cup. Like it's just
fair play and great to hear that, John. And again, like maybe the 15K might have been a bit of a push.
Yeah.
Probably 5 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe Devin added the 5.
I'd say Devin added but yeah, the gym is important. And look, it's full on here. You're kind of prepping tactically. You're looking at the organising training sessions, trying to prep. But again, and I mean this totally and up front and from my heart, yourself, Erica, Lily, Madison have been unbelievable for us. Like the support you're giving us, anything we're asking, it's been done and it doesn't. Like it's just, it makes our job so much easier. It makes our time here in the USA just so memorable. And look, I'm delighted that you said what you did say, because in return, like you've been a huge positive for us, because the support that you're giving us, whether it's due to just someone needing to advice, whether it's down to looking to go somewhere, you're just constant there. And I don't know what you run, and you must have some charger to keep yourself going the way you're at. You seem to be just there all the time, anytime we need it. And look, from the bottom of my heart and from all the support staff that I have with me and the players, we just like to thank you sincerely for everything you've done, John, Erica, Leon, and Madison, for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It feels good. Yeah, thanks for that. I feel like saying that is like what we should have said at the end, but we're hitting halfway now, so you have to re-say that.
I will for sure. Yeah, but I just need to mention it. And if we're inspiring you to do with the training, happy days. I need to do a bit more than I am doing, because I'm kind of you can make excuses, I think, and maybe that's what I'm at the moment. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do this now. I need to write this down. I need to take note on this. I need to go. There's 24 hours in a day. If you can't find time to go for a run or go to the gym, you're making excuses, I think.
And it's more than just the workout. It's me maybe trying to pressure you guys to stay for a little later to do something, and you guys be like, no, we got to get back. It's about the team. Like, we have to get back. It's about the team. And I'm thinking like, man, like I wish I had a team to like, care more about the team than my own individual fun on the fun events that are going on that evening. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that was something you guys all said, oh, we got to get back for the team. Or even simple thing, like seeing you guys, we're going to talk about that game where you guys won, because that's going to be really fun to talk about. But hanging out with you guys afterwards and just seeing everyone together singing songs, the biggest smiles on their face. I'm there as a part of it. Like I only went with you guys for like 10 days, but I know you guys only know each other for 8 weeks, and I'm sitting there like, why don't I have this? Like I've been with my team here for a year. Why don't we do this and sing songs after something good happens? We win awards. We do.
A bit more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, and
that's a huge commitment to give. So like it'd be totally unfair not to give that back in spades, because they deserve it. And again, it's easy to give the time to the players because they're so committed and they're just so professional. They're an unbelievable, positive, fantastic group, and like it's an honour. And I mean this now sincerely. It's an honour to be a part of it, and to have the coach and staff that I have around me. It's a huge honour. Yeah, and privilege
to be a part of that community. I do have to throw in here before we move on. Like if you have never been a part of an Irish, or I think a lot of Europeans might do it, if you've never been a part of like a group of people in a happy mood just singing nonstop and they all know the lyrics to the whole song, it was a cool experience.
Yeah, and it was great. Like that, the buzz and the excitement that win brought. It's 10 years, as I spoke about. Mm-hmm. Like it's been, so many people. Like there's a lot of players that were fantastic and they played the game over the 10 years, but due to retirement, due to injuries, they didn't have this opportunity. But they were the foundation of this. Like it didn't just happen 6 weeks ago. It's the 10 years plus, and like there was fantastic, unbelievable players that had come into this setup, and due to injuries or due to, I suppose, age or other commitments or being overseas, they didn't get the opportunity. And like if they didn't, give the commitment that they gave at the time that they were involved with the Defence First Ladies team, this doesn't happen.
Yeah,
and one player I need to mention, and an inspiration and unbelievable positive one, like is our captain, Jess Moorhead.
Yep.
Like that's a devastating injury to occur. arriving to World Games in the prime of her playing career, peak condition, leading by example totally, training, diet, nutrition, preparation, everything you could think of. Like, she is that and more. And like, you know, you sometimes you'll be thinking, what did she do to deserve that? Like,
Yeah.
What possible? But again,
just so everyone knows, she just tore ACL.
Yeah,
big serious injury. But the way you said, like, she died.
No, she didn't die. No, she's alive and kicking and great. She's with us here, which is fantastic. But I suppose what I was getting at is that, like, these obstacles that come in your way, you know, gives you these leadership traits, or you say, right, you know, fuck it, I'm after doing my ACL. This is my third time. Fuck this, I'm gone. No, she's prepping already. She's in the gym. She's doing the exercises. She's working with Devin. She's out walking. She's around the group. She's just fantastic. And if someone was to you know, ask you, what would you, or who would you know, throw in a position to show and what a leader should be, or what a player needs to be, well, there's your template, you know, and more, just great girl, fantastic.
It's cool you said that. I wrote a few things behind you, and one was like, who's the best leader on their team, and what is it that they do, and you just listed it off there, like always focused, always for the team. And even as she stands on the sidelines, I see her yelling and trying to tell people what to do, and I don't know her too well out of all the girls, but what I've seen her do, she's definitely got those leadership traits.
Yes, and like from early in the 6 weeks that we were preparing, and like she like, you knew that she prepared. She came in unbelievable conditions. You know, she was really good, ready to go. She was bouncing off the training session, pushing everybody, encouraging everybody. Like, a lot of our team don't play football, and like, they play Gaelic games at home, camogie, Gaelic football.
Real quick, Gaelic football is like rugby, but with a hockey stick, and it looked violent. I watched some videos. I didn't know about it until 10 days ago, but keep going. Yeah.
So the Gaelic football, you can use your hands, and the camogie is with a stick. And if you didn't like someone, you can kind of use that stick a small bit. And it has been done.
Good thing I'm likable.
Yeah, it's great. But like, so when she's out there with the team, and the people that maybe are not sure of what we're talking about tactically, she's staying back and encouraging them, and she's showing them what we're talking about. And you know, like, that in itself has been a huge plus for us. And having her out here, cheers, thanks, John. Having her out here with us, like, she still continues to be that positive person. You know, it's admirable. It's great. And you know, she's our captain. She still is our captain. She's leading from maybe the sidelines now at the moment, but yeah, she's still doing it. Excellent.
So you haven't said this about her yet, but both Devin and Shane, on separate occasions when I was with them one-on-one, they both said that that Jess was one of those people, when she talks, everyone shuts up and just listens, which I think, like, now that's a trait I wish I had, but I feel like you can't just be like, hey, I want that. How do I get that? But why do you think she's that way? Why is it? And would you agree with that?
I'd agree, yeah, for sure. And I don't think it's a case of they shut up. I think they just pay attention. So the idea, where I would see this comes from, is, as I spoke about, she leads by example. She constantly strives to be the best. She pushes herself. She's in the gym. She's on the field. She's doing everything. And again, like, if you don't look up to someone like that, well, then you're not really in the right game, or you're not in a position where you should be involved in a team. Like, as a team player, you need to kind of say to yourself, what can I do today that'll improve me from yesterday? And she's constantly leading by example like that. And yeah, for sure, the players would usually look up to her, and you can see it. And I wasn't in the dressing room for the first game, but we were outside, and she spoke to the team, and it was emotional. And I think Jess was emotional herself. But again, the reaction that the players gave, and like, you know, they're mad about it, they love her. It's a great group that's after coming together, and she's a huge part of it. Yeah, for sure.
I wish I could hear whatever it was she said. You know,
I wish I could too, because I wasn't in there. Yeah, but yeah,
it must have worked though, because you guys ended up one of the favorites, Germany. You guys ended up losing 3-0, and which is phenomenal for a bunch of girls that don't play soccer until 8 weeks ago. Like, I think people forget that. Like, I played soccer my whole life growing up, and watching some of your Ireland girls out there, I'm like, oh, she might be better than me, you know. And I picked enough that like they might have been better than me, and I'm like, it's surprising that I don't know if they've played their whole life or just 8 weeks.
No, and again, it's that. But you could see it every training session, they're improving. Every match we play, we get better. And again, it's down to their attitude. It's down to their belief, I suppose. And you know, like, field sports is field sports. It's different kind of tactics and different kind of balls, and you don't have a hurley or a camogie, you know, a stick to bait off someone, but you still have the same principles. You need to work harder than the opposition. You need to believe in what you're doing, and you know, the team that works the hardest at times do come up with the rewards. So that's what you kind of go with. And they're just a great group that we have. And like, if I could, I'd like to just also mention, like, Kim Turner, Siobhan O'Sullivan, Shelley Keogh, like, they're probably our most senior players. And like, they've been outstanding. No, everybody has been outstanding, but I suppose like Kim and would have been involved prior to me. You know, so like, she's there with a good bit, and like, you see her on the pitch, she's lead by example. She's not a great ambassador for the game, very positive around the girls, and would do anything, anything to assist and help out, and a great person to have around. Siobhan O'Sullivan, again, another player that's been there for a long time. Thankfully, she got the monkey off the back yesterday with getting the first goal and our first win. And like, I think the commentator Alex mentioned it in the preview of the game. He said, if there's a trivia question in 10 years' time, who won the first game for Ireland, or who scored the first goal, Siobhan O'Sullivan's name goes down in history, and well deserved. And Shelley Keogh, another great ambassador for the game. Like, Camogue's her first sport. She would have a few All-Ireland medals for Wexford, and her club would have won in Ireland, I think, only last year. So like, and she's heavily involved, still playing that game, and it's incredible to be able to commit to both. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So let's get to this. Let's get to one of the best moments of a lot of those girls' lives after talking to them after the game, right? The first two games, Ireland loses, and now they're playing Team Belgium, and first half goes by 0-0. Second half goes by, 75th minute around then? Do you know the minute?
Yeah, 70, I think it was 76. Was it 76?
Yeah. Somewhere around there. It was like 15 minutes after it happened. Siobhan O'Sullivan kicks it in. Talking to her later, she's like, it was a madhouse, and it was just in front of me, and I toe poked it, and it went in. It was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
And just the celebration everyone had. It almost looked like you won the real World Cup in that moment. It was so exciting to see. And then 22 minutes later, after the 7-minute stoppage time, it was an even bigger celebration.
Yeah.
How was that? What was it like getting that monkey off your back, as your word said?
I think it was just a huge release, because like, we've so much belief in this group of players, and I think they're really starting to believe in themselves now.
Yeah.
But like, Belgium are a good squad, great team, and they're coached very well, and you know to play football. And again, we knew it was a difficult challenge, but like, I think our preparation was leading us to better performances. I know the Cameroon wasn't great, but again, they're a professional team, and they played in the Olympics, and they represented their country. So they're an outstanding group of players also, really good, but they played together an awful lot. So we looked at Belgium as kind of maybe a slight bit of an advantage over us, and we could target this, and we could go for it, and we set up to do it. And when that ball hit the back of the net, it's electric. I actually stopped. I didn't move for a bit. I just said, please don't see a flag. Please don't blow us. Just make this be okay. Make this be a goal. And then the next thing you know, Richie Crow's on my back, and then they're still, is it happening? And the celebration.
Is it happening?
Is it happening? It was just electric. It was fantastic. Yeah.
It was cool.
An unbelievable moment,
Yeah, that was. It was just really cool talking to the players and them literally saying that was the best moment of their life. And I know so much goes into that. I remember seeing you walk in with like the roll of 18 large pieces of paper with all sorts of shit written on it. And I was like, hey, what is that? And you like show me, like, oh, it's the game plan. This is the weakness. This is where we're going to move the ball. These are the starters. This is the moves. And it was like, I didn't realize how much preparation went into those games. Like, I assumed, maybe preparation went in, but the detail you had and the practices and the meetups, preparation leads to victories, and it gets you what you want. Or what was that quote? I guess you send every text with at the end.
I put in, if you give it your all, a win will feel deserved, and a loss won't hold regrets.
Yeah. And
I think that your preparation as a coach, as a manager, it has to be everything, and it's hard. We went to watch 2 games. The extreme heat, even though you're not playing, you're watching. The heat is phenomenal. You're trying to get information, weaknesses on opposition, strengths, and you try to capitalise that, and that goes back to your team selection. People might feel that I should be starting today, but again, you're picking the person that you feel will stop that opposition, that place. Yes, it's like military, isn't it? You're looking for weaknesses and where you can penetrate the opposition. So you mark that out, you go over it, you train for it, you show the players what we're looking to do and what we're looking to achieve. And I know the players would be slagging at times, and they'd be trying to have the banter, and they'd be saying, you're fucking not doing nothing, you're back in your own. But I promise you, myself, Richie, Shane, Devin are constantly. You walked into the room tonight, I was sitting there with notes, and you said, are you sure you have time to do this?
Yep.
So we're constantly looking for how can we can improve, what we need to know about the opposition. And look, again, the best plans once you cross the start line fail after 30, 40 seconds, you know. But again, if you don't plan and you don't prepare properly, well, then you're never going to achieve. So yeah, thanks for acknowledging that. And I hope you don't give away any of our tactics.
I won't. I just thought it was, so when I played soccer in high school, my coach, I love the guy, Shane Hernandez. He was it was just like one of the guys, he was a few years older than us, so you could definitely relate to him like just an older brother. Okay. And
thanks.
He didn't he didn't do those kind of preparations. He would just be like, go out there and win, or he would like push like we would cheat. We would like, you're supposed to be 11 people on the pitch. Yeah. He'd be like, just kind of walk on. We would have, and he'd be like, I'll tell you when to come back off, and I'd run around for a few minutes, and then he'd like tell me to get back off before anyone noticed. Yeah. Anything. We were up 4-0 once, and he told me to do it. He's like, I don't like this team. It's like, all right, man. It's just so much. Yeah. It's so fun to see like how the difference at the levels are. I played a little bit for the base team at Offit, and then seeing.
Yeah, and look, it's great to hear that from you, and I think, I suppose there's a bit of an Irishman in him because he's a bit of a chancer. So I reckon, he's some genetics that'll bring him back to Ireland, I'd say. I
don't even know what the punishment would be if we got caught with 12. Do you know?
I'd say you just, I didn't realise that. That was an
honest mistake. What do you do? What do you do?
No, I think the officials at this tournament, without a doubt, would know it because they count you on and make sure that and look, again, a shout out to all the officials during the tournament. They've been incredible, really tough, difficult job. You have a lot of emotions on the line. You have a lot of emotions on the pitch, and they're doing a top job. So shout out to them. Well done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look, so we're 45 minutes in, and I haven't even looked up above you once. So let's see the difficult questions I had planned.
Are they not the difficult ones?
No, they're just going off what you said. All right. So the simple. That's not exciting. Let's go with so you said you are 40, right? 40 exactly?
46.
46? Okay. So it's like a lot of these players are 21, 22, is there a generational like difference between how you behave and what you thought and how they behave and how they act?
Look, you try to be the father figure from. You try to be the kind of the ambassador that you need to be as a coach and that. But I have two beautiful daughters at home, and they grown me. They so I'd have experience of kind of knowing how to approach, I suppose, speak. Yeah. Because if I do anything wrong at home, I'm told, and rightly so. Yeah. maybe when I don't do anything wrong, I'm still told. Yeah. Yeah. So like again, like daughters would keep you grounded, and like they're fantastic. I'd be lost without them, and so like you love them to bits, and I suppose these have to become your daughters when they're here. When you're away from home, you need to mind over them, make sure everything is being done properly, and if they have any problems, that they can, and they know that they can come to you. Yeah. Like if you're, I suppose, a person that's a dictator and you're demanding and forceful all the time, I don't think you build that relationship. And then stuff happens and you don't hear about it. And maybe it happened and I'm not hearing about it. I don't know. But you just hope that the players are comfortable to come to me if they, and they have done. And I'm there fully to support them in any, like facilitate them maybe. Yeah. To go through this process and hopefully they view it, which they seem to be, in a positive, and like you're saying that they're saying it's the best moment in their life. Excellent, and we've still 2 more games to go, so hopefully there'll be more of those feelings for them. Yeah, and they deserve it. Yeah,
I'm optimistic. We get another win in there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Please.
Something we had said earlier that I wanted to say, but then you said more good stuff, so I didn't get to. And I've told this before on this podcast. I asked you about when you were like, what did you learn as a player that made you a better coach? And I can't help but remember like this time when I was younger in high school. I played quarterback for American football. And so I would always do the same thing. Like whenever someone had a question or something didn't go right, even if I didn't know the answer, I just thought it was my job to just talk and maybe make something up. I would just do that because I thought that's my job. I'm the leader of this thing. So I would just talk and not let even like sometimes the other people that knew what was going on say anything, because I was like, this is my job. And I talk. And one of the coaches, Coach Edom, realized that, and he pulled me aside one day and he's like, hey, John. And I was like, yeah. It's like, anything that you say, you already know, you already understand, all right? And I was like, okay. He's like, you're going to learn so much more if you just listen, if you just let other people talk. Think how much more you'll learn. Make it about you. And I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. And then from that moment, I kind of don't talk unless someone asks me to talk. And I realized now that I don't talk until I need to talk. When I talk, people usually listen. Maybe not as good as Jess. Like when she talks, people listen, but it's pretty good. Like the quiet voice is the one that's always heard when it starts speaking. And it was something I learned as a player and then as a coach, or even as like an Air Force person. A lot of the younger generation does like to talk when they don't really know what's going on. Okay. And I kind of just say that same thing. I pull them aside and be like, hey, you're just going to learn more if you listen.
I agree, yeah. And there's a saying out there, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk.
Yep.
And great advice. And again, it was excellent that you got that from a mentor, and maybe your coach said it. I'd agree. I think if you're listening more than to talking, well, then you're learning more. And as you said, whatever you're talking, you're only kind of confirm what you know. So when you're listening, you're learning new things. And it's second that. It's a great way to be.
It is just easier said than done. Like sometimes, like, oh yeah, just shut up.
Well, I think if we have I would have been a shy person younger. Like I would have been very shy. But I think as you get older, and maybe if you do get to have a night out with some few drinks, you'd see that the more drink down here, so you don't stop talking. Yeah. so I talk a bit of shit, I suppose.
Yeah, that's something I've loved about hanging out with you guys. It's just the amount of shit talk is like, it's unreal. It just doesn't stop. It's like, when can you ever just feel good about yourself or like say something nice to your friend?
No, there's something wrong if you're saying something nice. Yeah, it's healthy. Yeah, it's healthy.
Cool. Oh, sorry, I had like a cough there.
Okay.
What's like some big differences that you've noticed, like being in the United States? Have you noticed differences between like our military and the Irish Army?
Yeah, for sure. I suppose security is really, really, really tight. In we see in your base, like
as it should be.
Yeah, as it should be. I agree. But like back home in Ireland, if I know the guy in the gate, he sees me in my car traveling in, he lift the barrier. Like you're coming in, the guy that gets easy. And I'm not saying this to get anyone in trouble now. Just kind of just observations. He stops, checks your ID. You're on your own, whatever it is. You know who he is, but that's the process. It's good. Where we'd in different offices or different headquarters, I suppose we'd be strict like that. But just stuff like that. I also see that, you know, and I spoke with you, and you'd know your team, but outside of that, you wouldn't know too many.
Yeah.
But in the appointment you've got around, so you kind of have. But like in our military, it's very seldom that you'd go to a location where you wouldn't know anybody. Like we're so small, I suppose, and any course that we go on, we're meeting people from different locations, and it's they call it one big family, and it is. Like, the Defence Forces has been great for me. I really enjoyed it. 25 years in it. My dad previously, prior to me, you know, was in the Defence Forces, and again, like I've made friends that I'll have for life. From all over, from the Donegal to the bottom of Cork and Kilkenny to Galway, wherever you want to go, Waterford, you know, it's fantastic and great people. And I just find it a bit strange that you probably don't have that connection with people outside your teams. Like
it's harder. Like I just got here a year ago. When I moved here a year ago, I didn't know anybody, so it's hard to make those connections. Most people already have their connections with their people. Yeah. And then the rank is a serious thing, so you kind of have to stick with people with the same rank.
I remember there was a chief of staff, Dermot Rowley was his name. Again, God be good to him, rest in peace. Like he did an awful great presence about him. Like if he met you, you knew he met you. You know, he'd make it his business to come and shake your hand and talk to you, and like for the rank that he was, you're trembling in your boots to a degree, because this is giant of a man he's coming over, but he put you at ease straight away, and he's kind of, how are you getting on, what's your name, Darren? Cody, and then he'd go around and he'd come back and he said, well, Darren, what's it, you know my name, and it was powerful, like. But some years ago, I suppose in the Defence Forces it was kind of a lot more regimental in terms of you can't talk to this person, you can't talk to this. But I think the type of leadership skills now have changed, and they realise that everybody has something to give and add, and taking their opinion on board, whether you use it or not, is up to yourself or in the position you hold. But I think it's key, and like that'd be heavily a way of our organisation. I think it's great for adapting that approach, and I think it works very well, because like we're a small organisation and everybody needs to put in the same direction and get on. So for that reason, I think it's good.
Yeah, the best leader for every moment doesn't always come from the most experienced or the highest ranking or the oldest person. It's very often those young guys who haven't really been in, and they're willing to say and try new things, that are the best leader or have the best idea for certain situations.
For sure. And again, as you said previously, like if you don't allow these people to speak, you never get to hear the knowledge they have.
Yep.
So like as a leader, you need to, utilise your team.
Yeah.
Leave them express themselves. whether it's a difficult to hear it back. If it's criticism, you have to take it on board, and at times, more times than not, the advice that they're giving you is better because they know.
Yeah.
They've done it, and so they're giving it to you to kind of mind you and look out for you. And
yeah, especially if they're trying to speak up and say it. Like I like to think, even though you have 46 years of life experience, Saoirse, number 9, right? She has 21 years, maybe 22. I don't know how old she is of life experience. So even though you have a lot more, there's a like percentage wise, she knows. She's like got like a 30% chance of knowing something you don't know because she's been alive for almost 30% as long as you have.
For sure.
You have to
good way of looking at it. Yeah.
I think my math was really off there, but
you're
it's
on
there. It's perfect. Nobody looked it up.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. So I got 2 more questions for you that I know I want to ask you. And one of them is being like, what's a trait you don't have, a weakness you have that you wish you were better at?
Oh, I suppose a weakness I do have, maybe a lack, I suppose, in a bit of confidence, maybe. And then in doing that, you kind of don't put yourself out there. So yes, if I'm doing something as a leader, I'll prepare properly. I'll prepare as best I can. I'll know what I'm doing, and I'll try to get that across. But if I'm in a room where people are talking and there's information being given, and I'm unsure, I'd be very slow to put up the hand. I think that's a bad trait. I think you need to kind of pop the hand up, ask the question.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, if I can improve in that, I think I need to work on that side of it. And speaking up, I think at times if I could go back, into a situation where I would have been in and maybe seen something that shouldn't be going on, speak up, speak out, and stop it. Not an extreme, no, like not an extreme, but like I've been in a position where there's people instructing on the course where I'm instructing on, and it's just take a drink. Sorry, I'm getting a bit. But you see someone acting as they shouldn't, like, and you're kind of saying, fuck's sake. But he's above you in that rank.
Yeah.
And you say nothing. But I wish I fucking did,
Yeah.
So that'd be.
I think that's a common, thing. I feel the same way. I can think of, when you were saying that, I was thinking, I've done that many times where I'm like, I don't think this is right, but I'm not very high ranking in this room, so I'll just stay quiet. Because I don't want people to think I'm stupid, or maybe that's the perfect thing that they're saying, and I just don't understand it well enough.
Yeah.
So I do that all the time.
So that I don't know, is that answering the question that you posed? But yeah,
it makes me realize I'm not alone in being afraid to speak up sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're not alone either now.
Thanks,
we're
John.
in this together.
Oh, yeah. We're doing it.
All right, so the last question. You can't pick Jess because we already talked about her, and cool, she's great. Best leader you've ever met in your entire life. Can't pick your dad either.
Okay.
Or Teresa.
There's been a lot. If I could mention 2, and I'll speak about one.
Yep.
I'd mention Christy Kennedy.
Okay.
Been a great leader. Has given everything to football, and for my a great ambassador. But I'd like to say Andy McGrath.
Okay.
I think like, I'm showing how old I am now again, but like in our day, as he was the manager, coach, we didn't have phones. We wouldn't have texting people and WhatsApp and all this. So like, we could have a game in the morning, and he gets a phone call at his home that the game is called off, and this is 8:00 in the evening, and the match is 11:15 in the morning. So like, he used to walk to everyone's door, knock, Mr. Cody, can you just tell Darren that the game is cancelled tomorrow, and we'll see you on Tuesday night for training. And he could have 16 people that he would walk around the town of Moy, and on a pitch, like, if you were doing something, like I remember one time I was taking a free kick, I was playing right full, and we were just inside our own, the opposition's half, and he says to me, he goes, Darren, have a look at your keeper. He's not really tall, is he? I can say, yeah. He said, I know you can strike the ball hard. Have a shot. And I'm saying, Andy, you're joking me. Look. He says he's not expecting it. He's small. Shoot. And I believed in what he was asking me.
Yeah.
And I bought into it. And I shot. And I scored.
That's awesome.
So like, he just had a great way about getting the best out of us. And that particular group of players, like, it was just himself, John McNamara, Jimmy Maguire, as I mentioned already. Like, in that group, it was fantastic. And Andy McGrath, like, rest in peace. Just a great, great person individually. I suppose if we were to pick, as you asked me, a leader and a person that inspired, that would be him. Selflessness to the utmost. just always put everybody prior to himself. And
that's a great trait I learned from. I stole from someone. I realized how they always put other people in front of themselves. I'm like, I should just try to do that sometimes.
He totally did that, and that would have been a huge, like, I suppose, as I said, I used to be shy, I used to be quiet, and he's given you this belief, and you're kind of thinking, can I? Of course I can. Will we? Yes, we will. Like, we went to Wales, I played in the tournament, that team, and no one gave us any hope. Like, the English had a lot of international playing underage, under 16s. The Germans that came over, got to the final, all of their players were after representing Germany at the time. We went from we were a local club team, but we had great people around us, great players on the team, and we ended up beating Germany in the final 1-0. Like, it was off the chart. Like should never have happened.
Yeah.
But I suppose the belief they put in us, and it just was excellent.
Yeah, between that story of Andy telling you to take that shot during the free kick and beating Germany 1-0, I've kind of thought this, and like, when sometimes you don't have confidence or you don't really value yourself, like confidence in soccer or value in like your life or your work. But when your boss or your leader or someone you respect or admire shows you that they value you or that they have confidence in you, it makes it so much easier to value and have confidence in yourself. And it sounds like that's what Andy did. Like, people can't just believe in themselves 100% of the day, every day. But when someone else does it, it makes it really easy for you to do it in yourself.
Yeah. And it is. And like, as I spoke about, you try to take traits from people that would have inspired you and had an influence on you, and that definitely would have been what I use often, and I try to use. And why not? Like,
just put confidence and value in people.
For sure, and in everything, and whether it's in the military, whether it's in your kids, who's to say someone can't do something?
Yeah.
Why should they try to cap you? Why should they try to stop you from growing? Like, why not encourage you? And if you don't do it the first time, sure, keep going and keep trying, and eventually you get there.
Yep. Well, it seems like Andy gave some solid advice there.
Yeah, top man.
Cool. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. We're trying to keep it right at an hour. We just broke an hour, so whatever you got left to say, it's on you. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah, look, if I could, I just, I suppose, start with thanking yourself, John, as I did join it, and I mean it sincerely. You've been a great, I suppose, influencer, because you've given us everything. You've been a great support anytime we're looking to go somewhere, and I'd clash, and I hope you take this as the way it is, as a great guy, and I'd love to bring you into the circle of friendship, because even though you're deploying soon enough, and like, there's no separation anymore in the world, you can get it anywhere you need to get to. So like, do come to Ireland. We'd love to meet up to Devin. It's an unbelievable time for you. Shane, Richie, everyone else speaks so highly of you, and like, what you haven't done for us isn't worth talking about, because you've done everything. And look, we just need to acknowledge that, and thank you again for it. Erica also, like, great girl, fantastic. I think she didn't really get to know us at the beginning. She was kind of, these guys off the wall, or what are they? Or these, yeah. But I think she's getting us now, and it's great, and she's fantastic. Anything we ask her, she's organised, and I know at times she's crazy busy with work, and like, she's her own family at home, but she's just constantly there supporting us and helping us. Lily also in medicine, like, we couldn't have handpicked a better group to be looking after us while we're here in America. And excellent, and thank you for that. Really need to mention it. If I could mention to the girls that didn't, who are at home and didn't get the opportunity to get here, like, just stay involved with Ladies Defence Force Soccer. If there's anyone out there that are in the Defence Forces and haven't really put their hands up or haven't seen this, like, I'd love to encourage them to get involved, and when we do get back, there is going to be plenty more opportunities to progress into this team and make it happen. I'd like to compliment the group of girls that we have, like, hugely proud, I suppose honoured, and it's a great, to be in a position that I hold at the moment. It's some reward. It's just an honour, and they're a fantastic group, and great highlights in my military career, because I got to know him better, and he's a top guy, and his wife only had a baby only recently, so like, again, he's sacrifices those to come away. So he's two beautiful kids, 2 sons, and he's looking forward to getting back to them and meeting up with his family for sure. Richie, Shane, like, 2 great guys. As I said, just Trey and Shane, I'd like to thank them for everything. Richie, like, he's the patience of a saint, because I must be reckoning, he said it was, we go with this system, we go with that system, what you think of this player, what you think of that player. But again, he's been fantastic, and really ultimate professional, top guy, top guy. My own family, before I go on to, I suppose, Colonel Horns, he's great support for us, and he really pushed this to make it happen prior to any decisions being made to allow us to come here. Like, he's been a great support I know he's in town and we're kind of different locations, but he's constantly on the WhatsApp and making sure everything is okay, asking do we need anything. And again, solid person, really great guy, and a high ranking officer that has given loads to us, and really he works for both the men and the females, but he's just excellent, and I'd like to thank them for that. Dr. Patrick Kelly, who's with us, again, it was short notice he got selected, and we're delighted to have him. Really one of the lads, I know it's not, he's an officer and you can't say one of the lads, but he's really that approach, like you could ask him anything, you could say anything, and you don't have to feel on edge. So great guy. At home then, Anna Carboy, if I give him a shout out, like as I mentioned, maybe 10 years ago we got involved, and it's been a great honour. He retired, would have loved to have him here. But again, I know he's watching every game, he's texting me during the games, he's on the phone, he's just solid, great guy. Captain Margaret Hogan, I think they're getting a mention on the TV also, and they deserve it. Like she didn't get to travel due to her work commitments, but like what she did not do prior to it, what she didn't give these girls and us as management has been like second to none. Fantastic, just a really positive woman. I wish her the best, and hopefully she stays involved, which I'm sure she will. She might even take it over. You never know. She's an excellent person. It'd be great for them. And then finally, my own brothers and sisters at home, my mum and dad, big shout out, but especially to my beautiful daughters, Claude, Zoe, and my stunning wife, and my pillar, my rocket friend, Teresa. Just the missionary loads, and I know I'd be on the phone to you and talking, WhatsApping you, and I'm probably looking at heads with the time difference, and but I know you're at home, and look, well wishes are there, but I miss you loads, and looking forward to getting home and meeting up.
Cool. That's such a good way to end it. I gotta throw a little bit in there, even though I said you could end it. I like how you listed off so many people, because that's like 20 different reviews I'm gonna get at the end of this. So that's a good little chunk of maybe subscribers.
Hopefully you get a few views.
Devin will be upset when he hears this, because I'm gonna make sure he misses his flight tonight. So he'll be here.
Oh yeah, happy
I'll make sure he misses it. I wasn't gonna tell you guys. He'll be grateful later.
If you're going that way when you're traveling to where you're going, you might drop him off.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll tell him that. I'll make him miss the flight, and then. Something Erica said that I didn't mention earlier, but she said she thought it was a cool coaching style of yours, that during practice she was out there watching, and you had Shane working with half of them and Richie taking the other half, and you just like sitting back watching, and that's something that she thought was really cool, how you like let other people lead when they know more, they can do it, and you were just like laid back. So that was something Erica said to like mention when I talked to you, and I almost forgot until you were talking about them.
Oh, fair play, yeah, and thanks Erica for that observation. And again, it's about you're a team, you're a management team. You have to trust, and I do have total trust in the lads. So we'd speak about what we're looking to do the next day. We'd plan it, and then they'd execute it.
Yep.
And then what you're looking as the head coach, what you're looking for is how the drills are going, how the players are performing those drills, and if you see someone's not doing what they need to, then you jump in, and then you go to maybe Richard Shane and say, look, you need to kind of watch what's happening here. They're not really putting it in. That's good, yeah.
It looked pretty professional anyway. Yeah, Darren, thank you so much for joining me on this. And yeah.
Oh, John, it's an honour. My first time, I didn't even know what a podcast was until you asked me.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
And thanks for making me at ease, because, as I said, I'd be kind of a nervous guy.
Yeah.
Shy. But it was totally easy. And I hope it comes up well.
If you had not said that, no one would know you were nervous. Thanks for listening to my 70-minute conversation with Darren Cody. It was really fun talking to him and sharing our experience over these last 10 days. I definitely learned a lot through hanging through Team Ireland. And the biggest thing I took from this is being a part of the Air Force. The Air Force I've been in 13 years now. They always tell us to volunteer and do these activities that the base has and that they're supporting, and that you should get out and do it. And I've learned that it's always really hard to do that, especially at air traffic control, and I'm sure other career fields. You can't just leave your job, and you just feel bad that you're burdening the rest of your coworkers with covering your shifts or learning or doing your job that you're supposed to do. So I've always put these things off. I got in this lucky moment where I didn't have a job for 2 weeks. I got to give up my chief controller job at Fairchild Tower to Callie Alexander and Corey Dodge. And both of them were good with me just hanging out with Team Ireland for 2 weeks, making sure they felt welcomed. I can honestly say this has been one of the best 2 weeks of my Air Force career, working for the Air Force, being ambassador for Ireland, and just hanging out and shooting the shit with a bunch of really cool guys. It's easy for me to say this right now, having just done it, but if you ever get the opportunity to do something for the Air Force that interests you, I say do it. I don't think I would have said that 2 weeks ago, but now I can say I mean it. I'm going to try to let my people do it more, and I'm going to try to do it more myself.